Hello, this is Sam Robinson, lead level designer at Curve. This is the second video in a series about Stealth Inc. 2, a game of clones, our Metroidvania stealth puzzle platform game, which comes exclusively to Wii U eShop later this month. In the last video we talked about the exploratory world and game structure. Check that video out if you haven't watched it. Today I'll be taking you through the all-new gadgets of Stealth Inc. 2, and how those gadgets fit into the test chamber and exploratory world. So Stealth Inc. 2 takes place in PTI Resolutions, a massive toy testing facility, but the way that PTI goes about testing these toys is incredibly dangerous, so they have to create these clones, these expendable clones, to carry out the tests. The exploratory world of PTI is split into 6 areas, each dedicated to testing a specific toy. So the beginning of the game sees you testing the stealth goggles. Now this is the basic stealth mechanic carried over from the previous game. If you stand in the light, your goggles go red and you can be seen. If you stand in the dark, your goggles go green and no one can see you, you're invisible. So this is obviously pretty useful throughout the whole game. But once we move out of Area 1, we start discovering the tests that are testing other toys. And the first one we want to talk about is the Inflator Mate. So the Inflator Mate is a furry inflatable friend. Many of the toys you discover in the game control in the same way. So with this you can aim with the analog stick, you can throw with the right trigger, you can retrieve it with the right trigger as well, and then you use the left trigger to activate it. So with this one you can throw it around and then inflate it. And this has more uses than you'd imagine. I can create shadows now by blocking lights. I can climb up to areas that I couldn't reach before because of the added height. I can throw this on top of an enemy and kill it, so I'm really turning the tables on the enemies of PTI now. But these are just some of the more primitive uses. I can use this as a springboard now to jump really high. If I call my Inflate Mate back to me in midair, I can then activate it again. So I can effectively fly around now. So once I complete all the test chambers that focus on the Inflator Mate, I actually unlock this gadget and I can take it out into the exploratory world, and then by using this gadget you'll be able to explore and discover the next area, where you'll find a whole new set of test chambers dedicated to testing a new toy. So this is a really cool tiered learning process where you're learning about the gadgets in the test chambers, and then you're going out into the exploratory world and using those skills and that gadget to advance to the next area. So now we're entering the third area of the game, which is the robot factory, and here you'll find a whole new set of chambers which will be testing the Jack Boy. The Jack Boy allows you to do stealth attacks on enemies, so you can sneak up behind a robot and then jack it and you'll take it over. So you now have complete control of this enemy and all of its abilities. So now I have 2 characters to control on screen, and the robot has obviously completely different abilities to my clone player. So this toy brings a whole new dimension to these test chambers, and it also gives you a very powerful ability to deal with enemies which you didn't have before. One of my favourite things about working on this game is that all the game objects interact with each other. So creating a puzzle or creating a level or an environment with things for the player to discover is really easy to do. So when you get these gadgets, it gives you the opportunity to go out and mess with those mechanics and experiment and see how to use the game objects and the world to your advantage. So there is so much more to tell you about gadgets specifically, but we don't want to tell you everything. We want you to go into the game and discover that for yourself. If you tune in next week, we're going to do a video on the co-op mode, and hopefully Bids, the design director, will be able to help out with that one. And we'll talk about the gadgets more in that, because the co-op heavily affects the way the gadgets work. So until next time, take it easy. Thanks for watching.